Good morning. The UN rapporteur on Palestine yesterday welcomed Spain's decision not to suspend its funding to the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees over Israeli accusations that some of the staffers of the humanitarian organisation were involved in the October 7th attack by Hamas. Foreign Minister Jose Manuel Albares earlier said the government will maintain its support for the UNRWA, calling the UN agency indispensable, and that the funding helps alleviate the terrible humanitarian situation in Gaza. Albares said Madrid will be following the agency's internal investigation closely, but highlighted the inquiry is looking at the acts of around a dozen people out of the UN organisation's 30,000 workers. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has urged donor states who have stopped their support to reconsider their funding withdrawals. Detectives have shut down a criminal network who stole corpses from hospitals and sold them to universities for thousands of euros. The Valencia-based gang used fake documents to remove the bodies from hospitals and residences before selling them to universities for $1,200 each. Those investigated sought out deceased people who had no living relatives. They targeted non-Spanish nationals or those who had precarious living conditions to avoid drawing attention from authorities or family. The investigation began early last year after agents learned that a body had been removed from a morgue of a hospital by a funeral home without authorization. Police arrested those responsible, including 2 funeral home workers who are accused of fraud and document falsification. And the Agriculture Minister, Luis Planas, yesterday rejected the suggestion that farmers enjoyed an unfair advantage over their neighbours after France's Prime Minister said he would look to address French farmers' grievances over competition. Farmers in France complain that they face unfair competition from rivals due to varying environmental standards among EU states. With French blockades causing delays in exporting Spanish produce, including fruit, vegetables, meat, olive oil and wine to the north, some exporters have started to use shipping routes instead. Spain's Federation of Transport Associations said the UK export market accounted for just 7% of Spanish exports, and shipping was not an alternative for most exports going to Europe. That's the latest from TRE. I'm Bob James.